You saw the Swiss Guards in our last video. Parade clothes, halberds, swords, and hidden firearms. But here's what most people miss. Those Swiss Guards don't exactly run Vatican security. That job falls to the Vatican Gendarmerie, uniformed, armed, and trained to face real-world threats head-on. Curious to know what kind of weapons this elite force carries behind the Vatican walls? Let's dive in and break it down. Number 1. Pistols. The Vatican Gendarmerie sidearm story begins long before polymer frames and striker firing. In the armory vault, a single 1839 model Gendarmerie trooper's pistol rests in a glass case. Its percussion conversion, brass front sight, and papal stamp reminding recruits that their badge once relied on a single smoothbore shot. The 45-ounce beast had no rear sight and no extractor. Loading meant ramming powder and ball, capping the nipple, and hoping the charge stayed dry in Rome's sticky summers. It served until metallic cartridges swept Europe. But the ethos survived. Simple mechanisms, absolute reliability. Fast forward to the late 20th century when modern threats, plus the need to slip a gun beneath a navy blue duty jacket, pushed the core to Austria's polymer wonder. Patrol officers carry a Glock 17, a 9mm service pistol weighing just over 30 ounces loaded and feeding from 17-round magazines. The safe-action trigger keeps every pull a consistent 5.5 pounds, and the gun will cycle filthy NATO spec or soft-shooting range ammo without any complaint. Armorers impose one modification limit: tritium sights are allowed. Everything else returns to stock for yearly inspection. That standardization means any officer grabbing any pistol during a scramble finds identical controls and trigger feel. Senior inspectors and plainclothes escorts lean more towards the Glock 19. Shorter slide, shorter grip, same fire control system, 15-round magazine, and complete parts commonality with the 17 make it a no-brainer for waist-level holsters under light suit coats. An Aimpoint Acro sometimes rides on factory MOS slides, yet many veterans stick with iron sights because presentation is faster when every micro movement counts around milling pilgrims. The smallest duty pistol, the Glock 26, enters the picture when the Pope decides to greet crowds up close. 10-round magazines flush with the frame erase printing, but every spare mag on an officer's belt still carries 17 or even 33 rounds for instant top-ups. Range instructors enjoy demonstrating that a Gen 5 G26 will keep 5-shot clusters inside an A5 sheet at 25 meters. Competition shooters may shrug, but tourists never know that the guard posing for a selfie can make those hits. Training doctrine pairs pistols with shoulder weapons. Every recruit must qualify with double action only on the first shot, a habit that began on SIG P220s during the 1980s transition from the Dryza blowback. Although the P220s now serve mostly as range loaners, their legacy lives in trigger discipline drills. Press through a smooth 8-pound stroke without disturbing the front sight, then transition to quick single-action follow-ups. New Glocks cycle quicker between shots, but the old SIG's heavier first pull still builds the kind of trigger control that sticks. Officers who train with that long, deliberate press often find the Glock's lighter break easier to manage when it counts. Recruits still handle their 1839 Trooper's pistol during Heritage Week, dry firing on a corked target to feel the weight and deliberate lock time. Instructors stress how slow, deliberate marksmanship under pressure grew into today's rapid sight picture mantra. To drive the lesson home, cadets must ring an 8-inch gong at 15 meters with a Gen 5 Glock, then immediately hit the same plate with the single-shot pistol. Most need 3 tries, but the exercise fuses old and new doctrine: front sight focus, clean trigger, follow through, into muscle memory that carries over to every modern sidearm on the duty roster. Round counts tell the tale of confidence. Treasury records show each full-time gendarmerie fire 2,000 service rounds per year, more during Jubilee cycles when crowds swell. That volume eats recoil spring, and the armory swaps every Glock spring assembly at the 5,000 round mark, identical to the schedule once logged on index cards tied to the P220 lanyard loops. From a flint cap single shot to high-capacity polymers, the pistol story ends where it began. Rugged tools, simple to master, always ready when the bell tolls. Still standing at attention? Then you're in the inner circle. Hit subscribe and step into the Vatican's armed elite, where tradition meets tactical. No nonsense, no secrets, just the weapons behind the walls. Number 2. SMGs. Crowd control around St. Peter's Square asks for compact automatic fire that stays controllable within 50 meters. The Italian-made Beretta M12S fills that decades-old role. Grip safety in the pistol prevents sympathetic squeezes during shoving matches, and a 3-position selector, safe, semi, and full, makes training straightforward. While the M12's cyclic rate hovers at a manageable 550 rounds per minute, armorers still instruct 2 to 3 round bursts to spare precious marble statuary from over-penetration. Modern response teams wanted roller-delayed smoothness and modular rails, so procurement officers turned to the Heckler & Koch MP5 family. The standard shoulder gun is the MP5A3, with a telescoping stock and a 30-round magazine. Its closed-bolt accuracy lets officers ping 8-inch steel plates at 75 meters easily, something the old Beretta struggles to replicate. For operations beneath the Vatican necropolis, tight corridors, echoing chambers, the Corps fields the integrally suppressed MP5 SD6. Supersonic NATO ammunition leaves the muzzle below 340 meters per second thanks to porting, so guards carry one cartridge type rather than juggling subsonic loads. Close protection drivers favor the MP5K and KPDW, which are tiny enough to tuck between the seat and console, yet still offer respectable reach if a convoy stalls along the Tiber. The K's shorter barrel loses about 60 meters per second in velocity, but inside city block distances, the loss is academic. Rails on midlife improvement handguards accept white light modules or IR designators for night events, and 3-position stocks adjust around ballistic vests without tools. Every MP5 variant carries a unique sling color, so armorers can track which guns are suppressed, short-barreled, or fitted for underbarrel lights without checking serials, a small logistical hack that speeds issue during big liturgies. The Corps also keeps a dozen 1960s vintage M12s in pristine shape for state ceremonies with Italian dignitaries. Partly nostalgia, part diplomacy. Those old stampings receive yearly live fire to prove they'll still run after half a century. Their slower cyclic rate and milder recoil give new hires a forgiving platform before stepping up to the MP5's 800 round per minute buzz. Plainclothes gendarmeries wearing tourist attire slide MP5Ks under camera bags. Their standing order? Remain invisible. Intervene only if a weapon threat materializes before uniformed units can close. That discretion paid dividends in 2015 when 2 thieves brandished knives in the Basilica colonnade. The nearest officer drew an MP5K, never fired, yet the weapon's sudden appearance ended the incident cleanly. A lingering question concerns whether the Corps will migrate to a modern pistol-caliber carbine, such as the HK MP7 or B&T APC-9, as Swiss Guards have. For now, institutional familiarity wins. Spare part bins bulge with MP5 rollers, locking pieces, and extractor springs. Every police armorer in Italy knows how to diagnose headspace drift on a roller-delayed bolt. Until reliability falters or armor penetration demands a new caliber, the MP5 reigns behind the colonnades. Number 3. Carbines. Long guns trace their lineage to Corpo dei Carabinieri Pontefici, the 19th century corps whose name survives in today's rapid response team. A single breech-loading carbine from that era still hangs in the barracks corridor. Walnut stock, iron butt plate, and trapdoor action sized for black powder 45 caliber cartridges. Written orders from 1869 instructed troopers to fire volleys only upon command. An early lesson in disciplined force that the Gendarmerie repeats during riot drills to this day. Modern carbines answer different needs. The Bushmaster Carbine 15 fills the RRT's request for lightweight 9mm and 223 platforms that can sprint from vehicle racks to spiral staircases without beating the user's shoulders. Carbon fiber receivers keep unloaded weight under 5 pounds, and Picatinny rails cover receiver tops for aim-point T2 dots. Early production suffered feed ramp cracking. Vatican armorers corrected that by installing steel insert barrels and epoxying the top rail to prevent optic shift. Updated lowers accept standard AR-15 trigger groups, so single-stage Geisley units drop in for crisp breaks during hostage barrier drills. The 9mm variant cycles off Colt-pattern stock magazines, sharing cartridge commonality with Glocks officers already carry. A 3-lug flash hider mates to BNT suppressors for low signature work beneath the Apostolic Palace, and medium-weight barrels keep group sizes around 2 inches at 25 meters, plenty for center mass engagement while limiting ricochet risk on travertine floors. The 223 rifle configuration, meanwhile, stretches reach to 200 meters when officers guard rooftop viewpoints overlooking the square. Zeros are set at 50, matching MP5 sighting, so muscle memory stays intact across platforms. Polymer over steel backup sights are epoxied to the top rail so optics loss never leaves a naked receiver, and every rifle carries a blue force padded sling, because marble stair treads punish shoulders during 8-hour watch shifts. The RRT also trialed a 20-inch stainless Adams Arms piston upper for extended suppression, but testers reported excess weight and negligible recoil benefit versus the tuned direct impingement carbine, so the concept was shelved. That willingness to experiment and reject shows procurement isn't blinded by trendiness. Logbooks record a carbon fiber upper cracking after 10 rounds during a 2024 training day. Bushmaster supplied an aluminum receiver gratis, and the incident reinforced inspection frequency. Every rifle now passes a magnified receiver check every 500 rounds. Naysayers ask why the Corps didn't purchase HK-416s like many European forces. Budget matters. A carbon 15 with optics costs half of a 416, and weight savings translate into faster stair climbs inside the Basilica Dome. Until Italian legislation or Vatican procurement shifts, the carbon receiver AR remains the Gendarmerie's go-to carbine. Rapid deployment doctrine pairs each carbine operator with a shotgun partner, creating flexibility if an adversary hides behind heavy wooden doors. Those scatterguns deserve their own chapter. Number 4. Shotguns. Last but not least, let's talk about the FabArm FP6, a 12-gauge pump born from a German-Italian marriage after HK split with Benelli. The FP6 weighs 6.5 pounds, sports a 20-inch tri-bore barrel with heat shield, and feeds 5 shells in its tube mag. Folding stock versions ride inside Mercedes G-Class rapid intervention trucks, while fixed stock carbines watch the papal apartment stairwells. Picatinny rails atop receivers carry red dot sights. Ghost rings flank the rear for slug precision during hostage scenarios. The Rapid Response Team patterns buckshot loads monthly on silhouette boards at 10 and 20 meters. Grouping discipline matters when pilgrims cluster shoulder to shoulder, so every shotgun cycles reduced charge loads that keep recoil manageable. Armorers maintain a small stash of breaching rounds, powdered metal slugs, for door defeats in extraterritorial basilicas where enforcing an arrest warrant might require covert entry after hours. Shotgun ammo loggers show mission diversity: reduced recoil 8-pellet double-aught buck, copper-plated slugs, frangible breachers, and even less lethal beanbag loads for crowd management contingencies. Each load rides in color-coded Velcro cards, red, blue, gold, and white, so officers can swap roles on the fly. During a 2023 training demo in the Vatican Gardens, an instructor transitioned from lethal buck to door breach slug to beanbag in under 4 seconds, proving manual pump flexibility still matters despite the allure of semi-auto platforms. That display convinced finance officials to fund a second pallet of FP6 barrels with interchangeable choke systems for tight hallway patterns. Field strip by pressing a single takedown pin, slide out the bolt assembly, and wipe down the tri-bore bore. Parts scarcity worries collectors, yet the Corps negotiated a lifetime spares contract with FabArm before HK exited the shotgun market. Even extractor springs have serial-coded pouches inside the mobile armory. Shotguns complement carbines without overlapping roles. During Easter Mass, the FP6 team kneels behind choir risers, weapon muzzles down, ready to shuck around if a threat breaches the nave. Outside, plainclothes officers carry semi-automatic pistols and MP5Ks, knowing that the 12-gauge rower represents the final deterrent. From black powder buck and ball to modern nickel-plated No. 1, the gauge may be ancient, but stopping power never ages. And those are all of the weapons of the Vatican Gendarmerie, each with its own story of innovation, efficiency, and reliability. Which piece surprised you the most? Got thoughts on the gear? Or maybe better suggestions for sacred ground defense? Drop it in the comments. Like the video, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.